So, hello everyone. Welcome back to AK Academy and dotNET Labs. Wish you a very happy new year. So, wish you a very good one. Hope this year gonna carries a lot of cool stuff for you, enjoyment, entertainment, and we'll see the end for the bad situation that we are in right now. So, I hope you enjoyed the vacation with your family. So we are finally back to reality for the .NET Labs project. Right now, we are in the fourth session. We will complete with the controllers of playlists, and we have already implemented the authentication, the generate token, and the register process. Right now, we will move back to the playlists. We have already implemented the creation of the playlist. Right now, we need to implement the edit, the remove, and get the list of all the playlists. And then we will move after that to the videos. After we are done from the videos, we still have the comments, and then we have the deployment of the API, and after that we can just simply move back to the client-side part, which I think is going to be more enjoyable. So thank you everyone for joining right now. We have a good number of participations, so I think we can move right now to the code and complete what we have left off before in the previous year. So here we have, in the last one, we have implemented the iPlaylist service. This is the interface, and this is the implementation of that service. And basically, this playlist implementation, we have implemented the create async only, and we have left the remove, update, just doing nothing, basically. So right now, we have to implement get everything, and then we will implement remove and update all in this session. So right now, to implement get all the playlists, what we have to do is to create another type of responses. It's not going to be called operation response. It will be called a collection response. Basically, the collection, as you see this one, operation response, we have created that to wrap the response. If you click F12 and we go to this one, you can see that we have a data, and it's a generic one. So basically, this response carried the data in case we want to return some data to the client. In addition to this, in this base response, there is a Boolean indicator like a success and a custom message that we can send back to the client whenever we want to send something or whenever there is any error that happens. So for retrieving all the playlists, it's not going to be the same type of response. Basically, it's going to be another one. It will have a success, it will have a message, but it's going to have a collection of data. This is number one. And number two, we always have the number of playlists. Maybe it's going to be huge. Let's say in the future, we will have more than 100 playlists or 200 playlists. We cannot retrieve all the playlists at once. So what we have to do is basically retrieve them as pages. So in this case, we have to handle the pagination stuff in retrieving all the data. So what we have to do right now, let's start first in the shared project. I will create a new class here. Okay. And then I'll call this class basically collection response. Let's mark it as public. And just like the previous response, it's going to be generic. So we'll have the key here, and it will going to inherit from the page response. So right now we have the success, and we have as well the message property. What we have to do here is we have to create the enumerable here of type key, and this one will be called records. So the difference here, they are a collection of data. They are not only one. And other set of properties we are going to have is one's going to be called page number, and another one going to be called page size, which is defined the size of the page, the number of the page, and as well as we will return the total number of pages. So in this case, we can simplify the process of showing the number of the pages for the client on the client side, or when you are developing this on the client side. So page just count, just like this. We have the page number, page size, pages count, and we can have them as, we can add this question mark, so they are nullable right now. They can take the null value in case we have set of things that we want to return as they are, like directly without having pagination. So we can basically just ignore this instead of setting the 0 value for them. So right now we have the records, we have the page number, page size, and pages count. So if you have 100 playlists and the page size is 10, then the first page will retrieve from 0 to 10. The second page will take from 11 to 20, and so on. So this is the response. It's ready right now. So I'm gonna save this, and then I'll go back to this iPlaylist service. I'll open up this one and put collection response of type playlist detail, get all playlists, just like this. It's going to be okay, like that. So right now, let's implement this interface again. So we have this function that should be implemented. So I'll remove this from here. So right now, what we need to do is to go to the repositories here, and I will open up iPlaylist repository. So we have enumerable, get all. We have to get all the playlists, and then we're gonna divide them, divide them for pages. So what we have to do here, sorry, I have missed some parameters like integer page number, integer page size. Okay, just like this. So it's pretty simple, as you can see. And by default, the page number is going to be 1, and the page size is going to be 10. So it's going to retrieve 10 playlists at once. So this is great. Right now, okay, let's copy this as well. I'll put that here. So in that case, we can start retrieving the data. So let's see how I can retrieve all the playlists. I'll type var playlists equals, we need to fork playlists dot get all. It's not to say that enumerable async is interesting. We will use it, but we will cover all the scenarios. And right now, here in this case, I've got all the playlists. What I have to do is to retrieve first, to create or to implement that pagination, I need the total number of all the playlists. This is the first information I need. And then I need to use the page number and the page size to basically split those playlists at all. So what I'm gonna do right now is, here I have all the playlists, and I'm gonna get the count of them. Let's say integer playlist count equals playlists count. Yeah, we need to add system.link. Okay, great. So in this case, I have the total number of playlists. Now I need to take a set of split them by the paging. But first, let's implement some validation here for the pages, because if page number is bigger than or is less than 1, so in this case, page number, we will set it by default to 1 again. And in addition to that, we're going to limit the max amount of of the item that's going to be retrieved per once. So it's going to be 10, but the maximum number is going to be 50. You cannot retrieve more than 50 because if there is a huge number of data that's going to like consume a lot of resources on the server for a single request, in this case, we have to set a limit for page size. So we have to say if page size is less than 5, let's say, the minimum number of items you can retrieve is 5. So page size equals to 5. And if page size is bigger than 50, then make it 50. We're not going to return an error because it doesn't make sense. We can just limit the amount of the data we want to return from our side. So this is great. Now, let's return the data by paging. So basically, to split this data, we need to use two main methods, one called skip and one called take. They are existing in the system.link library. So what we have to do is to use that function. So it's going to be just like that, var paging or playlists page equals all playlists dot skip, because first we have to, if there is, let's say, 50 and we want to get the first page, so in this case we want to skip nothing. And if we want to get the second page and each page size is 10, this means like we want to get the data, we want to skip the first 10 and take 10 from the rest of the data. So in this case, we want to skip like this. Page number -1 multiply page size. So in this case, this is everything you need to implement the skip, because why we are doing it like this, page number -1, like if you want to get the first page, so this number is going to be 0, because 1 minus 1 is 0. Then multiple the page size, like for example, it's 10, it's going to return 0, and this means like skip nothing, which is basically, it makes sense. If you want to get the second page, this means, okay, 2 minus 1, it's 1. By the page size, it's going to equals for 10. So okay, skip 10, and basically that makes sense. Right now, the second part of the process is to call the function take. Take, it's pretty simple. Like if there is 100 items in the collection, it's going to take a specific amount of data. So it's going to be the page size. So in this case, this is how you can basically implement that pagination. So as you can see, it's pretty simple. Right now, we can make the return new task collection. Okay, basically right now here we haven't used the async enumerable. Maybe we can ignore this for now. And when we implement the videos, we will use it. So do that like. Okay. So return this collection. Success equals true. Now we have message. Okay, let's retrieve it successfully. We have the records, or basically the playlists in page, like that. Maybe we can call here the .toArray. Yeah, we forget also another process, another important one. We'll get back to it, which is convert. Those are of type the playlists, the business model, let's say, object. We want to convert that to playlist details. So here, now we have the page number. Okay, the page number passed by the parameter, and the page size equals to the page size passed in the parameter. And right now we have the pages count. And for this one, we need to make a little calculation here to calculate the number of the pages available for us. So basically, that's it. Right now, we need to just basically convert the each playlist object into a playlist detail. And then we need also to calculate the pages count. So if I go to the models. And here in the previous session, we have talked about converting the data between data transfer objects and the business objects available for we are using for the database or data store. So basically, this translation has a lot of ways to do that. One of the ways is basically to use automapper. We are going to use that. And one of the ways I'm going to show for you right now, which is basically I prefer it because it's pretty simple to convert the data from this one and from the business model type into the data transfer object. And to do that, in the models project here, I create a new folder, and I call this folder mappers, like that. And here in this mappers, I create a set of classes or static classes that contains set of extension methods. So I'll call this one Okay, sorry guys for that disconnected. I don't know what happened, but okay. So let's make a very quick recap for what I was doing. So I have created this playlist mapper basically to be able to map any playlist object to a playlist detail object using an extension methods. So here I have created this public static playlist detail and the function called toPlaylist detail. And right now, sorry for that. This playlist, and right now I will call this object like playlists, just like that. And what's gonna happen is return new playlist detail like this, and playlist.id description equals playlist.description, and we have the name equals playlist.name. So this way is pretty simple. So you can map this object, any playlist object, to playlist detail object, or let's say any object of your domain classes to data transfer objects. I like this way. I use it in my projects. So right now we have that method, or we have that extension method. What we need to do is to add the using here for .NET Labs, or yeah, it's existing here already. Let's Control D and use the .mappers namespace, just like this. So yeah, here, right now we have the skip, we have the take. Okay, let's put them in a separated lines so it's going to be more clear for you. Like that. Okay. And at the end, I'm going to use select. This select is going to iterate over its object, and we can return it the way we want. So maybe you can return it partially, or you can return one property, or you can return another object, which is basically what we are going to do right now. So select P, which is basically an abbreviation for playlists, and the expression, and you will say P dot. Right now we have a very cool function here called toPlaylist detail. So it will take this object from the database and transfer it into a data transfer object, just like that. So in this case, playlist in page right now is of type playlist detail, as you can see. So we have solved this issue here. Right now, we still have to calculate the number of the pages available for us. And to do this, basically, we have to get the total number of items. Let's say here, we have in the database 55 playlists, and the base size is 10. So the base size is 10. This means that the number of the pages is, there is 5 pages that are full of playlists, like each of them contains 10 playlists, and there is a page contains only 5 playlists, which are basically the reminders. So to be able to calculate the number of the pages, we are going to use the following operator, like we'll say pages count equals total, or playlists count. This is the total amount of playlists, all the amount. I'm going to divide that to the page size. Okay, this is great. So for example, if it's 55 and we're going to multiply this for 10, so because if it's decimal, there's going to be some like fractions and the stuff. But because we are using integer, so if the result is, for example, like 5.3, because it's integer, it's going to ignore this part, so it's going to be only 5. And the number of the pages, there are 5 playlists reminded that they need a separated page. So to solve this issue, we are going to use this if here, and we will say if playlists count this module here, page size. So this basically will calculate the remainder of the division process between the playlists count and the page size. So if it's equals to 0, If it's equals to 0, then do nothing. But if it's not equals to 0, then pages count plus plus. What does this mean, and why I've done this? Let me explain that again. Let's say we have 55 playlists. So if we divide that on 10, we will get like 5.3, 5.2, or something like this. And in this case, we have 5 pages that's going to take 10 playlists, and there is going to be 1 page will take the remainder of the playlists. But if there is, let's say, 50 playlists, and the page size is 10, this means we have exactly 5 pages. If we divide 50 on 10, we will get 5. But in this case, we will get 5 point something. There is 5 playlists reminder. So in this case, we need another page. So this is why I've said, like, if the reminder is not equals to 0, it's bigger than 0. So in this case, add another page that will take the remainder of the playlists. So right now, a pages count just like this. So this is the function that's going to return all the playlists with the pagination supported. So right now we can test that, but we need to add about 15 playlists. I'm going to add some mocking playlists from the database. But before I do that, let me go to the controllers. Okay, this is the server project. I'll go to the controllers, and then I'll open up the playlists controller. What I'm going to do here, not here, but here, get let's say public result get all number page size. So raw result equals playlist service but get all playlists async. It's not async anymore, at least for now. So let's change that name. If you want to rename anything, maybe we have mentioned that before, you can press Ctrl-R, Ctrl-R. So it's going to rename the member you are renaming all over the places, like here and here as well. So get all playlists, just hit enter. So right now it has been renamed successfully. Let's pass here the number of the page number, and let's pass the page size as well. So this is great. Now let's return OK and return the result. Oh, that's cool. Right now we have this one. Let's go ahead and run the project. I'm going to Postman, and OK, let's go to the history here. I will pick, yeah, this one to create a playlist, but I think first I need to make a login attempt. OK, let's wait for the project to run. OK, great. So right now it's running. OK, let me send this request here. OK, I couldn't get any response. Oh, that's nice. Disable the SSL. Oh, sorry. We need to go to the settings because, like, I have got a new operating system. So what I have to do is to go to the certificates and OK, validate SSL validation. We don't need SSL validation. So yeah, let's click send again. OK, great. So we have got the access token. Let's copy it. And let's create a playlist. Go to the body, first in the authorizations. Let's paste that here. OK, great. Let's go to the body. Blazor WebAssembly full course. I'm gonna click send. OK, great. This is the breakpoint. OK, we have this breakpoint from the previous session. Let's click continue. OK, nice. So right now we have the first playlist existing right now. I'm gonna create some fake data here. So I will call this one test1, 2, and 11. I think this is enough. So right now we have an 11 playlist in the database. If you go to the SQL Server and you make a query here from playlists, okay, cool. So we have all this data. So if you have a look, we have 12.1. What's going to happen if you want to retrieve all the playlists, but the page size is a 3. So this means if the page size is a 3, or yeah, we have the limit for 5. So the minimum number of for the page size is going to be 5. So this means we have to have 3 pages. The first one, the second one, and then another one will have these two. So let's try to duplicate this tab, but it's going to be a GET request. Yeah, it's GET, and it's going to be called getAll. Yeah, because get has nobody, it's going to have nobody. And now let's pass the parameters. Page number equals 1, and page size equals 5 for now. So let's click send. Oh, that's great. Let's see what we have here. This is the object we have created. It contains these records, and we have the page number equals 1, yeah, because we are on the first page. The page size is 5, and this is the interesting property we have. The pages count is 3, and as we have explained here, and that makes sense because we have 12. First page, the second page, and the third page will have only these 2. So let's try to get the second page. As you can see here, we have the pleasureful assembly, the test 8, 2, and 3. Let's click send. Right now, here in the second page, we have the test 1, 4, 9, 5, 7. And in the page 3, we should get only 2 playlists. And yeah, that's it. As you can see, that basically makes sense for the data that we have. So this is all about retrieving a collection of data and implementing the conversion between what we have done here using that, let's say, to mapper, and we have calculated the number of the pages, and we have, yeah, that was a very smooth process and interesting. In addition for that, it's very, very powerful, especially when you have a big amount of data. Sometimes in your projects, you don't need to have pagination, but it's going to be based on the amount of the data you have. Like if you have, for example, like any set of applications, like in our demo, the playlists, it has to be paginated because we cannot project the number of playlists that's going to be out there in the system, or for the number of the videos. But for example, for the number of categories, even if there are 100 categories for the videos, you don't need pagination. You can retrieve them all at once. So this is everything about get the playlists. Right now, let's see some of the questions. So that you have. Yeah, it's of course it's a .NET 5. Is there any question do you have, guys, for what we are doing right now for the operation of getting the collection of playlists, as you have seen here? Yeah, for the automapper, yes, I have talked about automapper, and I have said in the previous session, I'm going to cover all type of methods that will lead you to implement the thing that you want to implement. For the transformation, here we have, I have used the method that basically I use in my own projects, which is basically creating those extension methods here. So to convert between playlists and playlist detail. And for the videos, we are going to use automapper. So in this case, you have multiple methods and ways to implement, which is basically a very boring job, but yeah, we have to do it anyway. So yeah, for the playlist, we are not going to use that, but for the videos, we are going to use the configure the library automapper and use it. But this one is also nice, and it's very simple to use, especially if you are using it in multiple places. You don't need to inject or do any stuff. You just get the object, called the method you created. I've called it toPlaylist detail, and that's it. That's basically pretty simple. So, is there any other question? Okay, great. So I think right now we can move to implement the update and then remove, and then we are just simply done from that. So to implement the update is just like create. It's going to take, if we go back to this object here, the creation, we are sending the name and the description. For the update, we have ID. We need to send the ID, the name, and the description as well. We bring the object from the database, set the new properties, and just save it. So that's pretty simple. So to implement that, I think we have a question here. Which is more efficient, using the extension method or using the automapper? What happens if the collection will be 200 items, but we have the limit of 108 through pages and finish the first 100 items, but want to see the rest? Okay, let's first start with the first question, like more efficient using extension method or using automapper. Yeah, basically, it's based on you for a developer. Personally, I avoid to use automapper just for one thing, because configuring automapper for huge objects is not easy. Like, it's going to be a complicated process. But using those extension methods, like for example, if the playlist will have soon we'll have a list of videos. So the playlists, you need to map each playlist to playlist detail, and you need to map each video to video detail. So in this case, having extension methods, I've found it personally similar than using automapper, because automapper for complicated objects, like it needs time to configure that, and using it is not just like straightforward, just like this. You need to create an instance or inject it or other ways. But anyway, I'm going to show you the both types, and you can choose based on your own way of coding and the one that you prefer. The other question we have, what happens if the collection will be 200 items, but we have a limit of 100 when we navigate through pages and finish the first 100 items, but we want to see the rest? Yeah, that's a very good question. Basically, what you have to do is, if you go back to this one, let me run this project first. Like, the example you gave is just very similar to the one that we have here. Like, here we have a 12 object, and the page size is 5. and how we can show all of this data on the client. So the way I have showed to you using this record collection that returns to you the object, and in addition to this, it returns the pages count and the current page number. So what you can do is you have, okay, let's start from the page 1. Okay, great. So if I make a call, okay, so here I get the only 5. So, but if I scroll down a little bit, I'm gonna see like there is 3 pages, and right now I'm on the first page. So this means there are 2 pages remaining. What I have to do is you can basically make a for loop over this pages count, because you know the number of the pages, and in each loop or in each iteration, you can send this call, but you change the number of the pages. So in our example, 2 calls, and you are going to retrieve all the data. In another example, you can, in your example, like you need 2 calls. And this is basically the same idea or the same concept that's being used in YouTube, for example, when you are scrolling through the videos, and when you reach them to the end, then you go and retrieve another 10 videos, and then you scroll to the bottom, you retrieve 10, 10, 10, until the end. So this is how you get this. But bringing all the data from the server is not a very good approach at all, especially if you have big amount of data and a huge number of clients. This is going to lead to some disaster, basically, in the performance of the application and the server. So now I'm going to move to implement the update. It's going to be pretty simple, update async. Let's go ahead and this is the update. Let's first mark it as async. Great. So the first process of that is to retrieve the playlist. So I'm going to say playlist equals await unit of work dot playlists dot get by id async, then model dot id. So it just exactly just like create, but we are going not to create an object, we are going to bring it from the database. So we have bring the object. Let's check if this object is exists, because if it's null, then what we have to do is just return success equals false, data equals null, and message equals playlist not found. If it's found here, we can basically say playlist.name equals model.name, which is the new one, and playlist.description equals the model.description. So we have updated that. All we have to do right now is to call await unit of work dot commit changes async. And as you remember from the previous session, when we implemented the entity framework to track the modifications and set the created by or modified by properties, I think in the part 2 or maybe part 3. So we need to pass the user ID who is implementing this process for the commit changes async. And we can bring this from the identity options here, which are basically has or contains all the information of the currently logged in user. So we pass the user ID just like this, and now the playlist has been updated. It is just that simple. So we can return new operation response is success equals true, message playlist has been updated, and data is equals to basically the model has been sent from the client. We can retrieve it the same. This is everything about update. We still have to go to the controller and create a new endpoint for that. It's going to be of type put. For the function update, task action result. Detail model. I enjoy doing this when creating the controller, because everything is just ready for you. You make 2 function calls and are just done from it. Success. Then OK, the result, or return bad request and the result. Wow, that's pretty simple. Let's go and run that to have a look at make sure that everything's just working fine. Okay, great. So I'll move to this one. So let's edit this one, the test 11. I will copy this object as it is, and then I will go to the create because it is the same request. Duplicate the tab. I'll make a put. Then for the body, I will paste this one here. Yeah, this is better. And this is the ID. And I'll call this ID, for example, building APIs with ASP.NET Core and .NET 5. Learn to build secure web APIs, .NET 5. So the new name, we want to just update test 11 to have this shape. Let's call this one update. And right now, let's make send. OK, here we go. We got playlist has been updated successfully. And we got the new information. If we go back to this one and make this call again, here we go. The same idea right now has new data, building APIs with ASP.NET Core and .NET 5. And if we go to the database, let's execute this query, and here we go. That was pretty simple, efficient, and we have a very clean code and architecture here. The last process we have in the playlists is just basically remove. It's going to be pretty easy as well, but let's see if we have any questions for the update process. OK, it looks like there is no questions. If you have any, so please, you can feel free to submit that in the comment section. OK. So this is the update. This is the get all, and this is the create. So we still have this innocent method here. So let's remove this one, and it's ready here. OK, let's remove this and mark it as async. The remove is much similar than a create and update. It's going to retrieve the playlist first. We can copy that from this one here, just the same process, like this. Sorry, but ID. Then we can call unit of work.playlists, remove, and it is the playlist we got from the database. After that, we can call unit of work.commit changes async. At the user ID that actually performing this is going to be user ID. And the last thing is just to pass this one. I don't think we need to pass any data. You can pass the playlist. Oh, OK, let's do that. Playlist dot to playlist detail. You see how simple is this? And has been deleted successfully. Like that. And okay, that's great. So after we have created the service or the function, right now let's create this one. I will copy this. Endpoint, HTTP delete. And it will take only the ID. So sorry, I've called it remove async. That's the ID. And wow, that's it. Just basically a few seconds operation. Okay, great. Now let's run test that. So I'm gonna duplicate this as well because I have the authorization here. I don't need anybody, so none. And it's going to be delete ID equals, or yeah, we can make the ID just exactly existing here after the slash, but I will update that. So let's remove that test3 here that exists because I don't like those names. So I'll copy that. Sorry, put it here. Then if go to this, maybe you can put a breakpoint. Click send. This is the ID. Getting it by ID. It found it. How to remove that. Commit the changes. And for the result, let's continue. So playlist has been deleted successfully. Let's go to SQL Server and click execute. And here we go, they become just 11. So yeah, right now we have a very like fully functional playlist service and pretty easy to use as you have seen in the controllers. In addition to that, if you noted this one, we have updated that. And if we go back to the service, if I go to the commit changes async, I'll go to definition. And this is the definition. It's called the save changes async. We have created that one. If you missed that, so we have created our own implementation for that. So basically, whenever the process is modified, it's setting the modification date and the modified by user. And for adding, it's setting the modification date, user, the creation date, and the creation by user. So if you go for this one, for example, yeah, you can see all of those created at 35 minute, 36 minute, 35, 35. But this one updated at 52. So it set this property automatically using this way that we have implemented. You can review the part 2 to see how we have implemented that. And create, delete, get all with pagination. It just implemented very smoothly and easily. So we have everything's ready right now. We can move to the core part of the project, which is basically the videos. It's not going to be that hard, but it's going to be more interesting. It will have some attachments, comments, tags. Yeah, it's not going to be straightforward, just like this playlist one. But this one is great, and I hope like you enjoyed it and you have learned some new stuff from that. If you have any question about that from the beginning, you can simply put that in the comments so we can answer that together. Okay, so great then. I hope like everything is clear and there is no question, and you get all the benefits out of what we have done and what we have implemented so far. A lot of stuff. Right now we still have the videos and the divisions, and then we can move back to the client side part. So thank you so much for joining us in this session. All the data here will be available on the GitHub right now. We can push this by going to Git and commit or stash. Anything, delete, update, and get all playlists. So commit all. Then push. So you have all the data and the stuff right now existing on the GitHub. Okay, I need to log in. So they have been pushed successfully. You have all the changes on your on the repository online on my GitHub account. So, and again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button if you haven't already. And I'll see you on the Wednesday for the upcoming session to start with the videos. And for the tickets basket course, for the one who have asked about that, the videos that I have recorded are going to be published starting from today and tomorrow. So you'll start seeing new stuff. And I've prepared a good amount of videos because that huge course is very big. And right now I'm have more time and I've allocated a lot of time for that. So it's going to be, the videos are going to be continuously right now in the new year. So happy new one again at the new year. So, and thanks for watching and see you on Wednesday.